Hey YouTube, what's up? It's Vikeejeah, and it's Sunday. Is it Sunday or is it Monday? Because it's like 3 in the morning. So, yeah, it's Monday. Anyway, tomorrow will officially be 1 whole week since I've had my weight loss surgery, and I feel pretty good. I had warm food today. Like I had soup, and it was really, really good. I've been a little nervous about eating certain things. I've been cleared to eat solids. I can't, not solids, what am I saying? Liquids, just straight liquids, such as Crystal Light or water, yogurt, pudding, soft foods, just, all those kinds of things. And I showed you guys in my grocery video that I was prepared with all the things that I would need for that sort of diet. I had my surgery on Tuesday of last week at about 11 in the morning, and I have some footage that I'm going to show you guys of me getting ready on that morning. And I don't know why my shirt always seems to find its way. Like, maybe I just have one arm bigger than the other, one boob bigger than the other. I have no idea. Anyway, that is just annoying. So I don't know. Anyway, so I have a couple of clips of that morning. My mom was filming, so it's kind of like from the perspective of a visibly nervous mom. She was a mess. As a mother would be. Her only child is going under the knife, and I don't know what my mom was thinking. She's one of those people that just doesn't want to really admit anything to me. I mean, like, we had a conversation today where she just didn't want to admit that she was confused about something. Like, that's the kind of person that she is. Like, she was like, I wasn't confused, I just didn't understand. And I'm looking at her like, what the hell's the difference, Mom? But anyway, I said after the surgery, I was like, you were scared I was going to die. Just say it. And she's like, no, it wasn't that. I just didn't want anything to go wrong. And I'm like, all right, Mom. Isn't that the ultimate thing that could go wrong? But anyway, we got to the hospital at around, I want to say 8 o'clock in the morning. And all my post-op stuff that I had to do for checking in and getting suited up and cleaned up and all that stuff, it actually did take the 2 hours. I was pretty much sitting in the hospital bed before they wheeled me into the surgery room for maybe 15 minutes. It just went by so fast. I had time to call my uncle in Arkansas, who has been really supportive through my weight loss journey and was planning to come, but unfortunately he couldn't because he couldn't get out of work. But I just wanted to keep him updated on how things were going. I had some friends from Second Life that were very supportive and cheering me on from Facebook, and a couple that have my phone number. Spoke to my mother. I believe spoke to her after the surgery because I wasn't able to talk. I was doped up like crazy. So this is my first time having surgery, and when I went in, I was fine. Like, I don't know if it was denial or what, but I was fine. I went in there and I'm like, hey everybody, today's the big day, let's do this. And I got suited up and took the urine sample thing, and what else? Yeah, I was cleaned out, y'all. They had me take this stuff called magnesium citrate, which is a laxative. Like, it's in a bottle. I don't have the bottle anymore, but it was about like this big, full of liquid. You had to like chug it, and it cleans you out. So I got cleaned out from the front and the back. Then when I got there, they're always doing studies at the Boston Medical Center. So someone who was working with my surgeon asked me for some fat samples from when they do the laparoscopic cuts. Yeah, we're going to enunciate at 3 a.m. And I said yes, of course, and they took a blood sample and whatever, because I always like to help out if it's not going to be a big deal for me to help out. So there it is. Then my mother came in because she was in the waiting area, so she came in just before I went in for surgery. And a friend of the family who's known me since I was 3 was also there in support, and my cousin who lives with me was there in support as well. Everyone seemed to be unsure of what to say to me, and were really there for my mother's sake, because she was so nervous. Because I was fine, she was a mess. Like, she was like blubbering to the point of, like, you know how you cry and you get that thing? She was doing that. And so I was doing everything I could to avoid her face, because the fact is, yes, I was nervous, but I didn't want to cry about it. I mean, what's it going to look like for the patient to be in tears on the way in? Incidentally, there was a woman going in for surgery that day. She was having some sort of oral surgery, and she was in tears in the elevator. And I'm like, want a hug? I'm sorry. She was an older woman, and apparently she had done this twice before, so I guess she was just really scared. And so I gave her a hug. I didn't know her, but I just felt like maybe she just needed a hug. So that happened, and I was thinking to myself, why am I so freaking calm? What's going on? And so I'm not a spiritual person per se. Like, I'm not a religious person. I'm spiritual, yes, but I'm not a religious person necessarily. And even in that, I do believe in an afterlife. And my father passed away when I was 8 years old. There have been events that have happened in my life that make me feel like I'm being protected by someone, especially since I'm alone, pretty much. I'm an only child, and I am often alone. Not that I feel bad about that at all. I actually enjoy my solidarity quite a bit. But whenever I'm out by myself, or whenever I'm just, having one of those moments in life where you're traveling or commuting or whatever, and I'm by myself, I always feel like, I hear about people who are kidnapped and raped and beat up and like all this other stuff that happens to them. That stuff has never even come close to happening to me. And I feel like it might have something to do with that. Or there was another example of like this rainy day where I was going to the movies by myself, and this random woman pops up and is like, hey, can I cut in line? I'll see whatever movie you're seeing. And she actually comes to the movies with me. I don't know this woman. I don't even think we gave each other our names. And then she disappears as fast as she came once I left the movie theater. And I'm thinking to myself, hey, wonder if that was my dad not wanting me to be by myself today. Like just random things like that would happen to me. So coming back to my point, I was wondering why I wasn't so nervous, and I think that may have been why. I think that he was just like, yeah, girl, you're gonna be fine. You're fine. Your mom is tripping, but you're fine. Don't worry about it. So I go into the operating room. I'm wheeled into the operating room, and I see the lights, like those kind of those big lights with all the little lights in them, that look like, for me, they look like the lights that you see in the alien abduction movie. I'm such a dork. Because I never had an operation before, I just didn't really think those were real. So I've seen them in hospital movies and stuff, but to see those for real was kind of cool. And everyone was just, very busy. I can hear them talking about, being prepared and saying the tools out loud and what we were doing, and what the surgical procedure was, and getting me comfortable in on the operating table, which incidentally I was too big for, by the way. Too wide for. I'm like hanging off both sides, thinking to myself, Lord, I better be centered on this thing. So they put the oxygen mask on my face, and they just start like asking me random questions about where I'd like to vacation. And of course, we all know where I said I wanted to go. I'm not even gonna bring it up. Y'all just go ahead and put it in the comments what you think I said. So then the next thing I knew, I was waking up. I don't even remember falling asleep, you guys. I don't remember any of that. I just remember my mom asking me to wake up, or open my eyes rather, and this woman talking about how much she loved my hair. And then I felt her touching my hair. Now, y'all, just know that the anesthesia did nothing to my personality. I was still like in my head, like, bitch, what are you doing? Why is my mom letting this woman run her fingers through my hair? Oh, I forgot, because my mom likes to do it too. Anyway, so they're trying to wake me up, and apparently I had been asleep for 3 hours after the surgery. I mean, I was knocked out because I had gone to sleep at maybe 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, I just, whatever time I got off Skype with my friends, that's when I went to bed. But I had to get up early anyway to get ready to go to the hospital. So I got up at 6, so I only had 4 hours of sleep. And when they were about to bring me into the operating room, I was getting sleepy again. So I guess I just used the opportunity of being knocked out to be knocked out. And so my lids were so heavy I couldn't keep them open. And then once I realized that I was fully conscious, oh man, did my stomach hurt. And they're trying to get me to breathe in this freaking, I don't even have it near me, but this breathing apparatus. Let me go grab it because you guys have to see this. Okay, you see this? I have to breathe into it. Like, I have to inhale to make the little thing go up. And before we went in for surgery, they asked me to do it, and I was able to get it all the way to the top. And after the surgery, I was only able to get it to about here without feeling like I was going to die. So I'm like crying because my stomach hurts, and I'm like, I don't want to do it. And my mom is getting nervous because, you know, I'm crying. So they let me go back to sleep. And the next time I woke up, I was in the recovery room. And that's when they really needed me to get up and walk, because they said as soon as I got to the recovery room, that's what I would have to do to get rid of like the heartburn. And yes, you have gas after the surgery, because they sort of fill your stomach, they fill your stomach with air to be able to, you know, move around in there. So after the surgery, they gave me some various medications. Of course, they hooked me up to an IV for to stay hydrated, because I couldn't eat yet. I couldn't eat or drink for the entire day. And so I had the IV, and then I had, of course, some painkillers. And I was in charge of my painkiller. I had like a little button, and every 6 minutes I was allowed some painkillers. And I pretty much, I couldn't stay awake long enough to use it every 6 minutes. Like, once I would hit the button, I would pass out. So I was sleeping, I want to say 3 hours at a time before somebody would come in and inject me with something else. And it was usually anti-nausea medication, an additional anti-nausea medication, and something else that I just can't remember. And then, of course, I had my painkillers. So I was hitting that button like a champ. I was hooked up to the IV on my hand here. There's still a little bitty scar, if you can see it right there. And I have another one on this hand too, because they had to give me some more medication on that side. So I had the IV, and then I had one of those oxygen monitors that they just clip onto your finger. I had the button in my hand for my painkiller, and I had to wheel the little IV monitor thing around whenever I wanted to walk, which they encouraged me to do regularly. Like, every couple of hours they wanted me to walk. At first, the first time I tried to stand up, I was so dizzy, so I had to sit down. And I slept in the hospital bed, but I found that when I was doing my breathing exercises, I felt congested. And they said that the breathing exercises are to avoid pneumonia. They also gave me medication for that. That's what it was, to avoid catching pneumonia from, I guess, the moisture. And I already, as somebody with allergies, have postnasal drip. So it wasn't fun. I had to hack up things, and, you know, when you cough, you contract your abdomen. So yeah, that was painful. Um, what else? What else? What else? I want to make sure I tell this in the proper sequence. So, the next day, I was I woke up in the recliner that was next to my bed because I got to the point where I just did not want to lay at all. Even if they had me propped up, it just didn't feel right. But when I was in the hospital bed, they put these what they call compression boots on my legs to keep the circulation going through my legs. Now, I'm just going to give you guys my little pet peeve of people saying things or naming things or doing things that don't follow what they're titled. These compression boots aren't boots. It's like a band. You know, like the same thing that they use to check your blood pressure, except it's longer and it has, you know, it's hooked up to a machine that pumps air into it to massage your legs. They're not boots. Anyway, I just find that annoying. I don't know about you guys, but, you know, you have an expectation. I'm thinking I'm going to have these, like, boots from my foot to my knee, or, yeah, from my foot to my knee that look like weight boots that astronauts wear. But no, they were just, you know, Velcro banded air pocket thingamajigs. Anywho, they were really comfortable. I enjoyed them, but I didn't enjoy being in the bed. So I would just get up and walk more to both get better faster and to, you know, keep the circulation going in my legs, because I was reclined when I was sitting in the recliner. My legs were up, and being, you know, from the gravity and everything, like my calf muscles were getting sore. I had the room to myself for a day and a half, which was lovely. It was nice and quiet. I could fall asleep as soon as I wanted to. By the second day, they had me off the automatic painkillers, and they were giving me oxycodone and Tylenol in liquid form. The oxycodone and Tylenol I had to drink, and then they were just continuing to give me the anti-nausea medication in my IV, and they were giving me an additional medication besides the one for pneumonia. They were giving me something else. It may have been an antacid. The gas was crazy. I was belching so much, and I think it wasn't until like today and a little bit of Sunday that I stopped belching as much. I'm still definitely burping, but it's nowhere near where it was after the couple of days following recovery. So, Mom came to visit the next day, brought my grandmother and my cousin, and, you know, they you know, we were getting along fine, and my mom was being her normal, you know, neurotic self. So then I get this manic nurse comes in and is like, oh, was this room originally for two people? And I'm thinking to myself, how the hell am I supposed to know? And all I said to her was, I've been in this room by myself ever since I've been here. So I don't know. And so she's frantically asking people, you know, we need to get a bed in here. We need to get this, and that. And they're like moving me out of the way. And I'm like, did I not just have surgery? Is this how you treat people? So I get in my bed, and so that they can move all the other things. And it still feels very awkward, me being in there while they're doing this. And so I just go, okay, I'm going to go walk around. By the time I make 2 laps around the nurse's station, y'all should be ready. Another patient comes in, and that's fine, you guys. Like, I never requested a private room anyway, and even if I did request it, I couldn't really afford it because I'm on government health care. So whatever, I gotta go with the flow. That was all fine and dandy. What was not fine and dandy were her 4 loud ass kids and her husband. Like, they were. I'm trying to rest. I am in pain. I am nauseous. I am gassy. I am spent. And it was just really, really rude, in my opinion, that this woman, you know, obviously she just had surgery, so she can't really keep the babies under control, but Dad can. And Dad was acting like he didn't hear the octaves reaching uncontrollable levels. And I just felt like even my mother, my grandmother, my cousin are just like sitting there like, the fuck is going on with these people? Ain't got no damn home training. So I asked the nurse, I said, because the nurse that was on duty for me, I was like, ma'am, can you please do something about these people? Like, can we move them to another room or something? Or can you just please just tell them to be quiet? I don't want to be that person, but when anybody who has had surgery and you're recovering from surgery and you are not in your, proper frame of mind, you are not in of all proper, like, I don't even know where I'm going with this. My point is, you're not all there, and you just want peace and quiet while you recover. To have kids screaming and making noise, and then the other monitors, like the timers for the IV machine, are beeping, and then this other thing's beeping because you moved your finger wrong and shit. Like, it was just too much. And I'm like, we already have the stupid machines beeping. Can we get the kids to either lower their voices or leave the room? Because they're not really helping their mom relax. And you know what I'm saying? Like, if your kids can't manage to keep their own self-control in a situation like that in a hospital, don't bring your babies to the damn hospital. Like, please don't, people. They don't need to be there anyway. It's a very depressing, sometimes scary situation. Why would you bring your babies to the hospital? And when I say babies, I just mean younger than 10. Anyway, so that's my rant on that moment. So then my mom and my grandmother and my cousin go home, and I get rested for the next day. And at this point, I'm on stage 1 of my diet, which is to drink 3 medicine cupfuls of water within an hour or 2. Now, that's about how much that I'm supposed to manage to drink. Can I tell y'all, it took me 6 hours to drink that much water. And do you know why it took me 3 hours to drink that much? Because I was exhausted between the walking and the trying to use the bathroom and everybody waking me up every time I finally fell asleep, and the monitors beeping, and just like between all this stuff, it was so difficult for me to stay awake to focus on drinking the water. And every time something hit my stomach, I felt nauseous, even with the nausea medication. So it took forever to drink that. But once I finally finished, they didn't let up. They didn't give me a break. They then came in, and I don't even have a proper example. They came in with something about that big, right? All the way around. Just imagine the circumference of that. I want to say that's 2 ounces. They came in with 2 2-ounce cups, one with Crystal Light and one with broth in it. Now, this broth, people, was not delicious homemade chicken broth from the cafeteria that maybe a very nice mama who can cook or a chef would make for you. This was the damn bouillon from ramen noodles. Disgusting. Like, disgusting by itself. I was like, who drinks? I'm surprised nobody gets nauseous off of that. I didn't drink it. I sure did act like I punched a hole in that junk and put it in my vomit cup. And I hadn't vomited in the cup, but there was, I had spit up because they had, because I didn't want to swallow it and catch pneumonia. So it was tainted, and I wasn't gonna drink it. And they asked me, did I want another cup? I said, no, thank you. But I did finish the Crystal Light. And so they moved me to stage 3, which is what the stage I'm still on, where I drink protein shakes, water, and I can vary up the water with Crystal Light. I can have broth, I can have pudding, I can have, as long as it's smooth and there are no bumps in the road, I can ingest it, basically. So we get to this point, right? And they have just cut my stomach down to a very small size. They want me to drink 8-ounce cup of Carnation Instant Breakfast, and then follow that up with another 8-ounce cup of Crystal freaking Light. It's too much. I'm full after half the cup of Carnation Instant Breakfast. And I'm afraid to drink too, I don't know how much at a time I can drink, because I don't want to throw up. So I didn't remember to ask about how many ounces I was able to ingest at a time, because I had to concentrate on so many other things. Not to mention, you guys, they had resident surgeons coming in periodically to check on me because they were part of the operation, and they are, studying to be doctors. So they were coming in and asking questions. I had the nurses coming in asking how I'm doing. I had one guy, and it didn't help that he was Asian this time, y'all. He was handsome, but I couldn't concentrate on it. Come in and put pressure on my stomach. Why are you touching me after my surgery? It hurt. And he was freaked out that he hurt me. Like, he felt really bad, which I thought was sweet. And then they wanted me to be able to wash myself on my own, without any assistance or any supervision. So they brought this guy in to bring me, set me up at the sink. God, he was handsome, y'all. He was really dope. So he comes in, and I couldn't help but notice, first of all, that he looked a lot like my ex-fiance, and number two, that his package was slamming. So I'm hypnotized. I'm dignitized, like, straight up, looking at his penis. And he says, "Good morning, miss. How you doing?" And I'm like, "Hey, good morning." And trying not to look down. So then he says, "You ready to get washed up?" And I'm like, "By who?" It just sobered me right the fuck up, y'all. Thinking to myself, I look like shit on a brick. I am not about to let this man rub me down. It's so embarrassing. And so he was like, "Oh, no, I'm just gonna get you. I'm gonna get you set up. I just want to know if you're ready." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, sure." So I was actually able to take care of that, even with having to balance this monitor that they had me hooked up to in every possible place. I had to balance that thing and my IV, and figure out how to take my gown off with the IV on, because I couldn't get a nurse to come unclip it for a second so that I could take the thing off. Anyway, thank goodness it already had, it was just a button down thing. Thank God. So, got my life, got myself cleaned up and freshened up. Got my new gown and everything, got my lotion going on, brushed my teeth, everything. I was feeling great. Certainly much better. And he could come back in now. So he did. He brought me some fresh linens from my bed, and he was nice. I chatted with him for a little bit, and everything was cool. And the woman who was in the bed next to me, her kids came to visit again. And by this time it was lunch, and I was on Carnation Instant Breakfast 2 and another Crystal Light, and I just felt like, y'all, and they said I couldn't leave the hospital until I finished this, because they needed to make sure that I was going to have, be able to ingest all the nutrients that I would need. I can't, one of the biggest problems post-surgery is dehydration. So to avoid that, they want to make sure that before I leave, I can handle it. So basically, you're supposed to be able to drink, 32 ounces of liquid. Excuse me, I'm having a gas issue again. 32 ounces of liquid. And that can vary as long as you are receiving water, So, you can, I doubt you want to just drink straight water all day, because you'll be hungry. But I had to be able to get this up to 1,000, at least up to there, before I left. And then, ingest the appropriate amount of water and food, protein. So there's that, but then there's also the fact that you have to take your pills in either liquid form, or you have to crush them and then put them in something in order to consume them all. Now I'm going to show you guys how much stuff I have to take on top of getting that other liquid and everything in my stomach. The point is, I wasn't going to make it, y'all. And now that I'm out of the hospital, I can admit this, I didn't finish. I didn't. But I wasn't about to stay another day in that freaking hospital with that woman and her babies visiting. It just was not. It was not happening, you guys. So my mom comes at about, I want to say she got there at like 3 o'clock. And the kids were there. And the husband was there. And all 5 of them were loud. The 4 kids and the husband. And this poor woman, as she was going out for another one of her walks, she apologized to me about the noise. And I said, it's fine. And I said it's fine because I was leaving, not because it actually was fine. So yeah. By this time, I'm able to watch some TV, get a couple chuckles in. You know, I'm feeling a lot better. I'm feeling like I can go home. I can walk on my own very well. I didn't need assistance, and I didn't need to hold on to the monitor to walk. I just pushed it because I had to bring it with me. So by this time, I'm off the oxygen finger thing because that was annoying the hell out of me. I'm off the second IV, and they've unclipped the IV because I needed to get unclipped to shower again that day. So this is day 3. And so I got through, I want to say I got through a quarter or a third. I got through a third of the lunchtime instant breakfast, and I got through about a fifth of the Crystal Light. Like, I really was not able to drink. And so they said to me, look, you don't have to finish the Crystal Light, just finish the Carnation. And I'm like, okay, no problem. The nurse leaves. I told my mom I needed to go to the bathroom. I brought that damn drink with me and dumped it down the toilet. I was like, forget this shit, because I'm leaving. So, and I didn't dump all of it because that would have been too suspicious. I got rid of all but about that much. So by the time they came back, I want to say maybe 30 minutes later, they were like, oh, wow, it's great. You finished a lot. And I was like, I know, right? Let me go. So they did, and I was discharged with all my paperwork that explains what to avoid, what to look for as far as my incisions and you know, signs of an infection, symptoms of dehydration. They wrote up my prescriptions for painkillers, antacids, and stool softeners because, you know, in addition to the dehydration, they've gotten rid of like pretty much all the bile in my stomach that aids with digestion and breaking my food down. So I needed the Colace to help me along. And let's see, what else? Let me show you everything that I have to take and explain to you how many times I have to take it so that you can understand that this is not a joke. This is not the easy way out, folks. Just so you, like, I really want to drive that home. The notion that weight loss surgery is your golden ticket into Skinnyville is bull to the shit. It's hard work. It continues to be hard work. And it is a lifestyle change, but it's a mandatory one for certain people who actually need it, who wouldn't be able to maintain it or wouldn't be able to even get there without it. So before you turn your nose down at weight loss surgery and the fat people who get it, the folks out there that love to judge things before they know anything about it, look into it. Actually look into it and look at the people who are going through it. I'm not saying you need to feel bad for anybody. I'm just saying, please, you know, give yourself some knowledge before you open your mouth, lest you look like a fool. Now, I'll be right back. Every time I wake up from a nap that is induced by the painkillers, I must breathe into this thing at least 10 times. Let me show you how far I can get it. Now, since the surgery happened on Tuesday, I was only able to get it to maybe 750. And before I left the hospital, I was able to get it to about there. And that was if, you know, I didn't have anything obstructing my breathing. So, you're supposed to inhale. I'll show you guys. The numbers are on the back too, so I'll just bring it kind of close. Almost up to 2,000. I'll let it drop. And I have to keep it in between here as I'm breathing in. Ta-da! So I'm getting there. I still have a little bit of like breathing weirdness. Like the rhythm of my breathing is a little awkward because I still have the occasional abdominal pains. It's still sore and definitely not fully healed. So, but that's major because I got it all the way up to 2,500 before the surgery. Anywho, there are my usual suspects that I take anyway. My Flonase, a couple of pumps in the nostrils to keep the nasal congestion at bay. So that's one thing. I take iron every day because I'm slightly anemic. So there it is. Let the screen clear up. There you go. Iron. And then because I had high blood pressure before I went in for surgery, I have the blood pressure medication. I don't know if you can read that completely. But there's that. And then I also have, for my hypoactive thyroid, I have levothyroxine. You cannot read that. I saw how blurry that was. Anywho, I have those things. And I had to change the form of my pill for my blood pressure medicine because I had to get something that was breakable and crushable. They're both time release. But because I had to use something that was like a 12-hour release and that could be easily broken, crushed, I had to get the one that I break in half, and I take one in, like, one half of it in the morning and one half in the evening. It still spans 24 hours. Okay, so here come the brand new additions to the family. The things that I talked about before on my grocery list: the calcium citrate with vitamin D. I take 2 of these a day. The B complex, I just take a full dropper full under my tongue in the morning, and then I take one of these lovely chewables in the morning. It's the multivitamin. Now, twice a day, I have some protein with 8 ounces of lactate milk. A lot of people who have bariatric surgeries tend to be lactose intolerant. So lactate milk and soy milk are going to be my new friends. Not that they weren't before. I actually enjoy them. For my pain, they gave me liquid oxycodone. There it is. And I take this 5 milliliters of this every 4 hours, or I take 10 milliliters every 6 hours. I'm currently on the 6-hour plan because I don't like waking up every 4 hours, especially in the middle of the night. This I take twice a day. It's 25 milliliters at a time, and this is the liquid Colase. It's not called Colase, but that's what the hell it is. It's basically stool softener. This pill here prevents gallstones, and that's because as your fat breaks down in your body fairly quickly, I'm just trying to remember everything they told me at the doctor. As your fat breaks down very quickly, you can develop gallstones. So this helps prevent that. It's 2 times a day. And then the last thing is basically Tylenol, and I crush it up. Or it's an antacid. I think it's actually an antacid. So anywho, yeah. That, and that. All those things. All of those things. I'm just going to turn my camera so you can see. Turn this so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about here. This is my new daily routine. Friends and family. Bada bam. Now, some of these things will disappear. I will not have to take the oxycodone once it runs out because there's no refills. I should actually not need it in a couple of days. Like probably by the end of this week I won't need it anymore. I also don't believe I will need the stool softener, as I am actually starting to go regularly. And so I'm not really sure if they're going to keep me on the antacid, and I'm not sure if they're going to keep me on the gallstone thing. Like, maybe, because I'm still going to continue to lose weight. I just don't know how fast, and I don't know how important that is once your body starts to get used to everything. The vitamins that I showed you, I'm taking those forever. I have a $45 vitamin bill from now on. The breathing apparatus, I will stop this as soon as I go to my next doctor visit, which is September 5th. And my other medicines, like my blood pressure medicine, will probably be something that I kick to the curb as I drop in weight. And the thyroid medicine, I do believe I will be taking that for the rest of my life. Flonase as well, but whatever. Those are nothing to me. I have to, twice a day, prepare a little medicine cup here of my crushed pills with a little water, or I can put them in whatever I'm eating, pudding or yogurt or something like that. I kind of feel like that would make my entire lunch gross. So I just do it in one shot. And I use this little measuring spoon to do my liquid stuff, like the Colace and the Oxycontin. So that is the routine of someone post-op that has a bariatric procedure. It's pretty standard to have nausea. It's standard to have gas, like acid reflux. It's normal to experience a little bit of dizziness. It's not normal if that stuff persists, maybe 4 to 5 days after the surgery. You should go back and get some help. I have not had any issues with my incisions, as I keep them quite clean, and I wear loose things so that I'm not obstructing them. I keep them dry. The little tape bits are still on there because I wash around them, and I'm actually really nervous to take them off. I don't want them to come off yet. I'm pretty sure the wounds are healed and it's not going to break or whatever, but like I said, my first surgery, I'm still pretty nervous about it. Everyone is really happy that I'm okay. And everyone in my family was calling my mom, asking how I'm doing. Oh my God, she really went in, she really did it. And I think it's because, and I said this to my mother, I said this to my aunt as well, I think it's just because over the past year and a half, I've mentioned it here and there, but I haven't really told anyone except the people in my home the details about my my process. So they didn't really get that this wasn't just something I was just gonna do. This was something that I had to qualify for through several hoops of jumping of hoops. And so when they heard, oh gosh, she's gonna have surgery in 4 weeks, they all started to try to give me advice. And I'm just looking at them, smiling and nodding like, guys, I already know all of this. I know more than you realize I do about this. And I think that despite them being my family, they don't know me as well as some other people in my life. And I'm looking into the camera because the people who I'm looking right at right now, they know who I'm talking about. You guys know me better than my family does. And they don't realize that I am a planner, and I am a thinker, and I am a, make plan B, C, and D kind of person anyway. I'm not always go with the flow. I pick and choose when I do that. So this isn't something to be taken lightly. So why would I? I'm 28. I'm a grown woman who does grown woman things. Yes, I can be silly, but I'm also very responsible. I am pretty much the reason that a lot of the sort of adult milestones in my life have occurred. And so I feel like if my family really knew that about me, that they wouldn't have worried as much as they worried. Of course, they're going to worry. I'm having surgery. They better worry. But long story short, everything's good. I'm feeling great. And I feel like the road to recovery is going to be really smooth. It has been so far. And I'm halfway through my 2-week recovery before I go back to visit with the doctor and move on to the next phase of this process. Now, like I said, I've moved on into doing like warm liquid. I had tomato soup today, and I doctored it up, did my little Food Network thing to it, and it was really delish. And let's see what else. So I had that, and I had some popsicles. Like I had 2 popsicles, some water, and I had 2 protein shakes today, in addition to my medications. Now, that's a lot of food for me right now. Like, today was my biggest eating day. Yesterday, I could barely get through those 2 protein shakes, and I didn't even finish my 2 bottles of water. Now, the reason I say 2 bottles of water is because I actually have 16-ounce bottled water and not small 8-ounce cups. So, I'm still getting the proper amount of liquid. I but I think I'm just going to try to switch it up a little bit with some Crystal Light. I just want to vary my food so that I don't get bored and say things on Facebook like I miss food. Because that was just a pity moment. And I don't necessarily miss food. I mean, yes, I miss being able to eat whatever I want, but I also don't miss the fact that I'm actually starting to lose weight. Like I can tell. I can see it already. So I'm actually looking forward to the future and a healthier lifestyle for sure. So that's it, you guys. I have talked for almost a full smooth hour, so I'm gonna dip out. It is almost 4 a.m. and yeah, it's time for bed. I'm gonna throw on some K-pop and mellow out. Y'all have a good night, and I will see you later for part 5 of this journey. Peace out.